Hello Internet! We're Mentally Invisible. Welcome to our YouTube channel.
We're going to be doing videos all about anxiety, and so we can kind of try and raise the profile.
And also educate you guys on how to deal with anxiety, whether it's you personally or
like someone you know, like how to deal with if someone you know starts having like an anxiety attack or a panic attack, how to help them so that they feel like you understand. Anyway, first of all, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Ruby, I'm 19, I'm going to be going to university in about 4 weeks to actually study psychology and education as well. And I actually have generalised anxiety and social anxiety as well. So that's fun.
Right? Hey, I'm Kat, I'm 17, I'm about to start year 13, so last year of school, and I've had panic attacks and sort of very, very minor anxiety, and someone in my family has really struggled with anxiety lately. And your fun fact about me is that I laugh like a 4-year-old.
My fun fact is I'm allergic to hundreds and thousands of M&Ms. And a fun fact about both of us is...
A collective fun fact.
We're both karate black belts.
Yeah.
And we have been since 2008.
Yeah, so that's pretty fun.
That's quite a long time now.
Yeah.
Anyway, in this video we're going to talk about like the definitions of generalised anxiety and social anxiety, and like kind of what they are, and like the book definitions.
Yeah, the book definitions and definitions that are, let's be honest, easier to understand and more accessible for teenagers.
And not just people who've studied psychology or stuff to a degree level. We've got to make it so that everyone can understand it.
Okay, so dive straight in there, because that's the best way to do it.
In our book definitions.
So,
they're really fun.
Yeah.
First of all...
My phone's locked, sorry.
We had to do it on the phone because
my laptop died.
Alright.
Okay, so...
Let's start with generalised anxiety first, because that kind of affects everything.
Yes. Generalised anxiety, the book definition that we've got from one of Ruby's university textbooks,
which is giant,
is a sense of apprehension or doom that is accompanied by certain physiological reactions such as accelerated heart rate, sweaty palms, and tightness in the stomach. So, generalised anxiety is basically an excessive worry about all matters relating to
everything.
The individual's life is difficult to control, and it can cause restlessness, fatigue, difficulty concentrating, irritability, muscle tension, and sleep disturbance. My psychologist has described it as a moving target. One day you could be really anxious about driving, but the next day you might be okay with driving and be really anxious about cooking. It's that random, and it can literally affect anything and everything. So general anxiety shifts from one thing to another, whereas social anxiety...
if we go for our book definition first...
For our book definition, my phone's locked again.
The phone is locked again.
Okay, so social anxiety is defined as a marked and persistent fear of one or more social or performance situations in which the person is exposed to unfamiliar people or to possible scrutiny by others. The individual fears that he or she will act in a way or show anxiety symptoms that will be humiliating or embarrassing.
Basically, it means that you fear what other people will think of you. You fear their judgment, and you think that they will kind of exclude you because of any little thing that you do. So it's not, as some people think, it's not the fear of people. It's not. It's not a fear of people or crowds, although I don't like those things. It's the fear of the judgment that those people give you.
And a really good example to illustrate this is, so you're just sitting in class doing your work, and you see a group of people a couple of seats away from you all laughing about something. You've got no idea what they're laughing about, but your brain instantly assumes
it's you. They're laughing at you.
I don't know, your hair looks funny, or you've got something on your face, or your pen's leaked all over your hand, anything like that, when really they could just be laughing at a fart joke someone's just told.
Which is actually more likely. They probably are not even thinking about you, but you are always thinking about them, which is the worst thing. It's not fun. I have both, and it just means that like a classroom situation can be really not fun. Especially, it can really stop you from concentrating, because if you're always thinking about what that person's thinking about, what that person's thinking about, they're looking at you, why are they looking at you, it can cause some real trouble with like taking notes, and it can just make things far more difficult than they need to be.
Okay, and now that we have a basic idea of definitions, we are going to give you a real quick whistle-stop tour of possible causes of anxiety, because we will have a proper video on causes at a later date.
Probably once I've started university, and when we've done more research.
Yeah.
So we have actually a better knowledge before we try and pass on knowledge, because we shouldn't try and pass on knowledge that we don't actually have. Anyway, if we start with generalised anxiety, a kind of general cause from what I've read is it's all about setting goals that you can't meet. So it's really linked with like perfectionism. So if you're always setting yourself goals as like, I have to get A's in everything, and then you get all A's and 1 B, you're not going to focus on all the A's, you're going to focus on the B. You got that B, therefore you start to spiral.
Yeah. And social anxiety, which I've struggled with, it's kind of a conflict between how you see yourself and how you believe other people to see you. So, you know, you could go to school wearing something that you think looks really, really great, and then the moment you catch someone looking at you, you instantly think, they must think I look stupid, they think I look terrible, they think everything's just looks so bad, my hair's awful, my face is awful.
And then you feel like you want to go home and change and you can't, and it doesn't matter what you're wearing, it's not even just that, it's anything.
It can lead you to feeling quite trapped within a group, like you can't escape that feeling of constantly being looked at and judged.
Judge is the biggest word when it comes to social anxiety, is what I found. It's the biggest thing. Anyway, that thus ends our very, very brief whistle-stop tour of causes, but as we say, there will be a proper video on that at some other time. The final thing we're going to talk about today is differences
between socialised anxiety and generalised anxiety.
Also, I wanted to mention here, if you want to mention something like OCD. So OCD is an anxiety disorder, but unfortunately, it is not unfortunately, because it is a serious condition, but it is much better known than the other anxiety disorders. Because from my experience, people seem to think that if you have anxiety, you have OCD, which is not at all true.
No, you don't need OCD to qualify as having anxiety.
But you have to have anxiety to have OCD, which is kind of sounds more complicated than it is.
Yeah.
Basically means if you have anxiety, you don't have to have OCD. But we're not really going to focus on OCD because, as I said, it is more well known.
And also we
don't have it.
Yeah, we don't have as much experience with OCD as we do generalised and social anxiety.
Alright, so we're going to start with the differences. So generalised anxiety is very much a goal-orientated thing. So especially that's how it starts. It starts with not meeting goals and thinking, therefore, that you're going to fail at everything. If you fail, like last year, I didn't get into university at the end of last year, so I spiraled in thinking, oh my god, I didn't get into university, I'm not going to get a good job, I'm going to end up starving and homeless, was my thought. That was my thought pattern, whereas most people would go, I didn't get into university, oh well, I can work, I'll get in next year. But you tend, and it also has, what you came up with this was the kind of a latent paranoia.
Everything
it's not really a paranoia.
Becomes a slight threat to you. Like you can be walking home, just got your headphones in, it's about sunset, so it's just about getting dark, and you see someone out of the corner of your eye walking behind you. In your brain, instantly becomes a threat. You think they're gonna drop a bag over your head and you're never gonna see your family ever again. Chances are
they're gonna kill
they
you.
just want to go home as well. So,
but you think they're gonna kill you just for a brief second, and then you realise how ridiculous your thought is, and you can't. But then 5 minutes later, you see a car driving past, and you go,
"Oh my god, it's a drive-by shooting."
Yeah. Obviously not everyone experiences these things in quite the same way, but that's what I've had. That's my experience of it. And then you've got social anxiety, which is generally it's all about opinions.
Opinion and appearance, how you think of yourself and how you believe others think of you.
It's you take your self-esteem, which is another thing we're going to talk about later, from not how other people actually think of you, but how you think other people perceive you.
Yeah.
So you will never get this quite right. It's kind of always half there. You're never quite sure how other people will see you, but you'll tend to think of it negatively.
because studies have shown that people with more anxiety tendencies, so to speak, tend to focus more towards the negative side of what people think or what people say rather than the positive side.
Like, if something's completely ambiguous, it's not, you can't, no normal person would see it, maybe they would tend to push it more towards the positive side, but someone with anxiety, an ambiguous statement, they will tend to go negative. It's just a tendency. You'll tend to go, oh, they said this, therefore they're judging me badly.
However, there are some similarities between the two anxiety disorders.
And also OCD can fit into these as well. It's very much a general thing. It's something known as intrusive thoughts, which just means that you could be doing something and suddenly a completely random thought comes into your head that causes you anxiety. The other day I was at work and I had a bit of a headache, and suddenly my brain said, I bet you've got a brain tumour.
And
it was like, there's no reason for me to think that.
I was working on my UCAS application the other day, so my uni applications, and my brain suddenly went, is this really what you want to do? Is this the right degree for you? I mean, seriously, you could do something so much better than that. And
it's not something you actively think about. It's something that
it just pops in.
It goes like this. And then it causes you anxiety and you kind of have to force yourself to go, no, this thought's irrational, stop it.
The best way to think of an intrusive thought is like you're popping a balloon near a small child. You know, the child will freak out and then it will suddenly realise...
And calm down. That
nothing's happened.
There's no threat.
It's absolutely fine. So the best way to think of it is balloon near a small child.
That's a good analogy. Anyway, but the biggest thing for me and the most horrible thing, and most people will have experienced this at some point or other, is the what ifs. Someone with anxiety is all about the what ifs. What if I did get shot by that person? What would my parents think? They would be really sad and then everything would go wrong for them, as well as me being dead.
Yeah, so the what if is a more serious case of your brain spiralling out of control and thinking of every possible bad scenario and incorporating them into one giant apocalyptic what if.
Yeah, because everyone experiences those, like, now and again, what if I had done this differently? But someone with anxiety goes from what if I had done this differently to if I had done this differently, everything would have gone wrong and I would be dead. But even though you're not, it still causes you anxiety. It becomes quite real. Like, even though these things haven't happened, they can still affect you. So, yeah. That's the end of our video today, actually. That's the last bit of our last section.
That's all we have to say, you know. Our little bit of paper.
Our plan, we've got to the bottom.
We are down here, so...
Our last thing, we actually have one last thing to say, is our next video, whenever we make it.
We will put a tweet out on our Twitter account, which is @MentalInvisible, at some particular time.
And it will be about preconceptions and labels. So that's our theme for next time.
So
let people know if you liked our video.
Please let us know. Tweet us. Our Twitter for our joint account is down below, along with our personal accounts. So
and obviously comment on this video if you like it, because we really like to hear from people. And if you do like it, then please pass it on, because it's something that a lot of people struggle with, and a lot of people feel invisible because of it.
And if you want to get to know us a little bit more, follow our personal Twitters,
which are also down below.
Yeah, you will hear me talking a lot about bands and school and probably karate.
I probably will be talking about uni in about 4 weeks, but before then it'll be me freaking out about uni.
Yes.
So anyway, hope to
see you guys again soon. Please let us know what you think.
Alright,
bye.